Very good morning, students. Last class we have discussed about magnetism and electromagnetism. So, what is the concept of magnetism? That is electromagnetism. Already we have discussed what it says. Current carrying conductor produces magnetic field around the conductor. This is what we have discussed. This is a basic concept you should know. So, based on the concept, let me pass on to the next topic, which is force on parallel current carrying conductors. We have seen that a current carrying conductor has a magnetic field around it. If we place another conductor carrying current parallel to the first one, so listen the diagram carefully. Here we have to consider two current carrying conductor. Current carrying conductor is nothing but that is wire which carries the current. So here we have to take two current carrying conductor. So we have to place nearby. Both the conductor current is flowing in the same direction. So what it happens? The second conductor will experience a force due to the magnetic field of the first conductor. Similarly, the first conductor will experience a force due to the magnetic field of the second conductor. How the magnetic field, how the magnetic force produced? As per the concept I told you already, when the current allowed to pass through the conductor, it produces magnetic field around it. So here we are considered two current carrying conductor. So we can consider the first diagram. So both current carrying conductor, current is flowing in the same direction. So magnetic field will be produced on each conductor. So each conductor will experience the magnetic force by the magnetic field. Have you understood, students? So what it happens? These two forces will be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. These two forces will be equal in magnitude and opposite in direction. Using Fleming's left-hand rule, we can find that the direction of the force on each wire would be towards each other when the current in both of them are flowing in the same direction. That is, the wires would experience an attractive force. However, if the direction of the flow of current is in opposite direction, so if the current carrying conductor, if it is opposite direction, look at the diagram carefully. So come to the second diagram here. So already I told you I stands for what is that? Current. B stands for magnetic field. D is nothing but distance which we separated, and F is nothing but force. So what it happens as per the concept, when we allow the current to pass through the conductor which produces a magnetic field around it. Now, if the current direction, the flowing current direction, if it is opposite direction, what it happens? Then the force on each of the wire will be in opposite direction. When the current flow is opposite direction, force also will be in opposite direction. So which is shown in the figure, in the second figure, F1, F2 is towards the opposite direction. What it happens? When it is towards the opposite direction, it will be repel each other. So both the forces, the arrow mark which shows clearly, both the forces, if it is opposite direction, that will repel each other. But in the first one, both in same direction, in sense, both same direction, the forces will be towards each other in sense will attract each other. But in the second case, current flow is opposite direction. So what happened? The force also will be in opposite direction. Force also will be in opposite direction. Listen this carefully, students. So current flow which is shown in the red color marking. So if it is same direction, it bend towards each other, which means it attracts each other. I think you're all very clear. Once again, current carrying conductor, it produces what? magnetic field around it. So that magnetic field will produce as the magnetic force. That magnetic force, if the current flow is same, will attract each other. If the current flow is opposite, will repel each other. I hope you all understood, students. Next one concept is nothing but connection between electricity and magnetism. So we are discussing again and again the same concept, connection between electricity and magnetism. So what happened in the earlier days? So before 18th century, people thought that magnetism and electricity were separate subjects of study. After Oersted experiment, he is one of the scientists we discussed earlier, Oersted. After his experiment, the electricity and magnetism were united and became a single subject as electromagnetism. So, the same concept we are discussing again and again. What is it? When there is a current, the magnetic field is produced and the current carrying conductor behaves like a magnet. Exactly, behaves like a magnet. You may wonder how was it possible for a lodestone to behave like a magnet when there was no current passing through it. So lodestone already we have discussed, student, which is the natural magnet. So how it behaves like a magnet when there was no current passing through it. Only in 28th century we understood that magnetic property arises due to the motion of electrons, that is movement of electrons in the lodestone, which is natural magnet. In the circuit, the electrons flow from negative of the battery to positive of the battery and constitutes current. As a result, it produces magnetic field. In natural magnets and artificial magnets that we buy in shops, the electrons move around the nucleus, constitutes current, which leads to magnetic property. Here, every orbiting electron in its orbit is like a current carrying loop. Even though in all the materials electron orbit around the nucleus, only for certain special type material called magnetic material, the motion of electrons around the nucleus gets ordered up, and as a result we have permanent magnetic field. So this diagram is which shows what it is. So there is an iron nail and the battery. It is connected with the wire. So as per the concept, what happens when the current flow is there through the wire, it produces magnetic field. So in sense that iron nail will be converted into magnet. So magnet will attract magnetic material. So it is attracting the pin. Have you understood, students? So now we will see the difference between magnetism versus electricity. The movement of electrons, electricity is nothing but the movement of electrons or electric charges is called electricity. But magnetism is an interaction between moving charges. It is an invisible force, that is electricity is invisible force, a phenomenon that occurs due to the electric charge. So magnetism is a byproduct of electricity which occurs when electric charges begin to move or change. This force also is invisible, but we can feel. So electric monopoles exist in the form of particles with positive or negative electric charges. Magnetic monopoles do not exist because magnetic charges are produced in opposite pairs. There is no magnetic monopoles. Magnetic will be exist by dipole only. Electricity is present where there is a static charge or presence of moving charges. Magnetism is caused by the motion of the electric charges, so it is present where there are moving charges. Electricity is used everywhere, from lighting, heating and cooling to the computers, machinery and electronics, appliances, and more. Magnets are used on the doors of the refrigerators and freezers or to store data on computers or in compass needles, etc. We have so many uses we have by the magnetism. I hope you all understood about the difference between magnetism and electricity. This concept I told you already. I hope you all understood. So this is nothing but once again the same thing as per the concept, that plus and minus, which means that is a battery. Already you know the symbol of the battery. So from the battery current flow is there. So when the current flow is there, there will be the magnetic field around it. So there is a magnetic field around the wire, that spring which is produces magnetic field around the wire. So there is a magnetic pole also, that is north and south pole. I hope you all understood, students. Thank you.
Very good morning, my dear students. Previous class we have learnt about ionic bond and covalent bond. Today let us discuss Fagens's rule. As we know, a metal combines with a non-metal through ionic bond. The compounds so formed are called ionic compounds. But in 1923, Fagens found through his X-ray crystallographic studies that some of the ionic compounds show covalent character. Based on this, he formulated a set of rules to predict whether a chemical bond is ionic or covalent. Fagens' rules are formulated by considering the charge of the cation and the relative size of the cation and anion. Students, you know two types of ions. One is cation and another one is anion. Ion with a positive charge is called cation. Ion with a negative charge is called anion. A neutral atom loses electron. It forms a positive ion, that is cation. If a neutral atom gains electron, it forms a negative ion, that is anion. So children, in cation, you just remember that T, cation, C-A-T-I-O-N, T, like positive. So an ion with a positive charge is called cation. Anion, what is the spelling for anion? A-N-I-O-N. That second letter, N represents negative. So anion means a negative ion. So a negative ion is called anion. So children, in cation, you just remember that T, C-A-T, that is T like positive. So that is a positive ion means cation. Anion, the second letter N represents negative. So a negative ion is called anion. When the size of the cation is small and that of an anion is large, the bond is of more covalent character. So when a cation is smaller in size, that time anion is larger in size, means the bond is more covalent character. Greater the charge of the cation, greater will be the covalent character. That means low positive charge represents the bond is ionic character. High positive charge means the bond is covalent. For example, you consider sodium chloride molecule. In sodium chloride, that sodium having positive charge plus. So that is one positive charge, Na plus. But in magnesium chloride, Mg2 plus, the positive charge 2 plus. In aluminum chloride, that positive charge, that is 3 plus. So in sodium chloride, magnesium chloride and aluminum chloride, which one having low positive charge? Sodium, Na plus. And which one having higher positive charge? Al3 plus, aluminum. So low positive charge means that is ionic in nature. So here sodium chloride, that sodium having low positive charge. So that is sodium chloride is ionic in nature. But in aluminum chloride, that is 3 positive charge, high positive charge. So that is a covalent nature. So sodium, compared to sodium chloride, aluminum chloride having more covalent nature, because in sodium chloride, that sodium having low positive charge, so that is ionic, and aluminum chloride, aluminum having high positive charge, so that is covalent in nature. And second one, the cation is larger in size, anion is smaller in size, means that bond is ionic in nature. So when a cation is larger and anion is smaller, that is ionic in nature. When a cation is smaller in size and anion is larger in size, means that bond is covalent in nature. Okay students, so you study this table. Okay, so you just remember, low positive charge means the bond is ionic character, high positive charge means that is covalent character, larger cation and smaller anion means that is ionic nature, smaller cation and larger anion means that is covalent in nature. Okay students, so I hope you understood this Fagens's rule. Next class we will discuss coordinate covalent bond. Thank you students.